Battle Pass tokens spend or save? This is gonna be the question for today. Hello people, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. This is Lorraine and today we're gonna discuss about what tanks are worth your bonds, well not bonds, Battle Pass tokens, and what are not. Well, jumping off straight to the comparison, I really loved what Wargaming made for us. They made a material of if you like a vehicle, a certain kind of vehicle, take a look at. And this is what I'm gonna complain. Well, not really complain. I'm gonna give my opinion of what they compare it to and what I think it's really worth and what really doesn't. But before I start this comparison, I want to make something clean. We're gonna get 24 tokens out of this season. So therefore, the KPZ 3 you're not gonna be able to get it by May, by actually 1st of June. So in season 12 or whatever next season gonna be, because there are so many seasons I lost count. Only right then you're gonna be able to put your hands on the Kappas under 3. So keep in mind that. So if you're a free-to-play player, you can get yourself 12 tokens. So keep in mind that if you spend another 7,500 gold, you can get yourself 21. And of course, if you complete the brand new collections, you can get yourself 24 bonds. So pretty much if you are free to play, 15 not bonds, 15 tokens is going to be your maximum budget. And for the pay to win players is going to be 24 tokens. So keep in mind that. Now we can begin our comparison. So the Kappa's under 3, a vehicle that it was not a review. We don't have live footages of it, but from paper, this tank has 3000 DPM. It has the siege mode. Once you select the siege mode, you're gonna get worse mobility, but better. What is better? Gun handling, better gun depression. So from 9 you get to 12 and everything like that. So here you have a high drop pneumatic suspension or however it's called, just exactly the same as the tank that they put over here, but there is a slight issue. I'm like 100% certain that this tank compares to those, because by the way it looks like, but those tanks, they do not get any kind of penalty when it comes to DPM. This tank from 3000 DPM, when you go to the siege mode, it goes to 2000, I think 2000, so you lose 50% DPM or something, not 50%, but you gain I don't know how can compare, but yeah, from 3000 to 2000. So it's a big slight penalty. Those vehicles, no, you just like siege mode, you are more accurate, you have the same DPM but less mobility. This one gets the same penalty. It's more of like a Kunze-Panzer. I believe Kunze-Panzer should have been over here, but maybe Uriam said maybe we don't want to promote the Kunze-Panzer because it's less expensive. But yes, if you have played the Kunze-Panzer and you've been playing with it, if you give it a try on a test server or wherever you got it, you'll know that this vehicle, once you go to the siege mode, you're gonna get more accurate, you're gonna have worse dispenser, worse mobility, but you have worse DPM. But once you get its firepower, you're gonna like a sniper, pinpoint sniper in that kind of regards. I'm gonna make a review of that because I have bought it because it's less expensive. I believe when Kunze-Panzer and the Lorraine came out, they were like 24 each. So yeah, I bought it later for cheaper. So this is what I'll recommend to you to do as well if you're not a tank collector. But obviously, if you're a tank collector, you can still wait a year or so, and still you're gonna get your hands on those tanks because looks like none of those tanks got removed, so keep in mind that. So KPZ 3 brand new vehicle, not reviewed yet, I cannot give my opinion, but it's more of like a Kunze-Panzer in that kind of regard. So next, the BZ58-2. There are some footages of this vehicle played by the CCs, 24 tokens, so everything that you're gonna spend on this is gonna be only a tank, and that's all from those season. The tank, no rockets. This vehicle is a Chinese vehicle without rockets, which is a bit sad, but what can you do? The mobility is good, the gun it's trollish. I mean, it's 420 or 430 alpha damage, so it is kind of a 50 TP, but worse, I think, or maybe a more mobile E75, but E75 is much better, is my favorite tier 9 among more it's among my favorite tier 9 heavy tanks. and I really love it. 50 TP is the same. The object 252U, it's the armor on the 252U, it's much better on this vehicle. This vehicle with hit is gonna be overmatched by any kind of hit, so you're gonna lose your upper plate armor. Your lower plate is huge, is not as object 252U in that kind of regard. And the Visa 1104, yes, it kind of compared to this vehicle because obviously it lacks DPM. So yeah, in this kind of comparison, Wargaming really showed what are the brothers from another mother of this vehicle is, and 24 tokens. Will I spend on it? No, no way. I'm gonna spend that much on a vehicle that is balanced. I can say so. I'm laughing when I say that, but 24 tokens, it's a lot. With 24 tokens, you can get yourself more tanks, and on top of that, you can get yourself 8 bounty pieces of equipment. 8, not one vehicle that you, it's which is mediocre. I mean, if you're gonna play the 50 TP, probably you're gonna get much better out 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 of it. Next, it's the Cobra. This vehicle is such a stinker. It's a vehicle. It's when the gun works, it is your best friend. You can clip in 4 seconds. You can clip the tier 10 medium, the tier 10 tank destroyer. You can clip anything because you have those dirty HE hash rounds. Once again, 24 tokens, a bit expensive, but it's a Cobra. If you have the budget to play this vehicle, oh boy, it's gonna be your best friend because with heat, I mean, yeah, you can carry one. It's like with heat, it's not the most fun tank because the gun is derpy if you play it at longer distances, and 360 times 4 is not the most amount of damage for 45 or whatever the reload of this vehicle is. In terms of auto roast, that can surprise enemies with his mobility and burst fire. 1375, yeah, okay. Lorraine 40T, yeah, probably, but the intra-clip reload is really huge on the 40T compared to this one. This one is 1.5 second, this one is 1. The Pantera, well, like, I will not say that the Pantera is here. The Pantera is, I don't know, it's huge. It's not really mobile, but Progetto could possibly be better than the Pantera in this comparison. At Type 5 Chiri, yeah, the Chiri is comparable to this one in terms of gameplay, but the alpha damage is not highest. A vehicle that I could compare the Cobra to, it's the Skoda T50 or the TVP T5051 because of that insane burst fire and pretty good mobility, and well, arguably they have good gun handling, but I don't know. Do you want to? Personally, what I'll say it's first play the TVP T5051. Do you like the gameplay? Do you think it's alright? Do you it's suitable for you? Then you could spend all of your budget on the Cobra. If not, you can buy the Cobra maybe next year with 18 or even 12 battle pass token or 15. But yeah, as I mentioned, you need to have premium account. You have to have credits because you are gonna fire only HE, premium HE on it. Next, ladies and gentlemen, for the 18 battle pass tokens, you can get yourself the Lorraine 50T. Oh boy, it's a speedy tank with a powerful single round cannon. I don't know what to say about this one. Why it's working compared to the IS7 or the 257? Why is that? Why? This vehicle has no armor. It has well, the turret. I mean, it's arguably good. The gun, it's not out of out of the moon or whatever I can call it. The AMX M451 is better, but yeah, I think it's like one of the worst one they can get out of these tokens like store. But I don't know. It's like the T10 is more reliable, has much better armor. The gun is better. The 277, once again, it's a hybrid. Well, this vehicle it's a hybrid between a medium and a heavy. This is what it's supposed to be, but it's not anywhere near a medium or near a heavy. So it is. This is kind of a tank of a Frankenstein. So once again, I will not spend the tokens on the Lorraine. Maybe if it was the only vehicle that I could buy, then obviously I will spend on it. But I don't think it will really worth it. Um, Next, the Kunze-Panzer. The Kunze-Panzer, I have it, and for 12 bonds, it's actually a decent vehicle. You have good APCR penetration, you have good gun, you have the new mode that it takes some time to master, but once you master it, then oh boy, you have 15 degrees of gun depression in the special mode. You need to switch between the mode, the siege mode, and the normal mode to trigger like the DPM kind of. I don't know how to explain it, but if your reload is 9 seconds in the normal mode and in siege mode is 13, you fire in the siege mode to be more accurate. You get out of the siege mode and you're gonna have 9 second reload instead of 13. So you have to switch. Um, you have to switch every time you do that. So yeah, I'm gonna make a video on it anyway, so I can be uh, more. Uh, more explaining in that kind of way. Medium tanks that utilize sniper-like tactics on suspecting enemies. The Kampfpanzer 50, oh no way this tank compares to the 50T. Obviously it's German, but this one has turret armor, this one has, well, it's slightly slower I think, but um, the Kampfpanzer is like the best medium that you can get. Even T55A it's not as good as the Kampfpanzer 50T, but I understand what Wargaming are trying to say. It's sniper-like, but Kampanzer can be even frontal heavy. Centurion 7-1, well, arguably this one, after the buff, did he got any turret buff? I don't think he got turret buff, but yeah, 7-1 is a good comparison. Leo PTA, yeah, it is, and the 61, once again, it is. So in this kind of comparison, Wargaming are really showing good tanks that can compare this vehicle, but who no way the Kampfpanzer is making it here. It is German, but oh boy, the 50T is 50T. Next, first, well, not really first because the Cobra is an autoloader, the Char Future 4. It's not your typical way of autoloader because this one has such a long intraclip reload, but what am I supposed to say? Yeah, fast tanks and loose medium tanks that can hit enemies while on the move. What? You don't want to hit, you don't want to fire on the move, especially because your gun handling is not the best. Usually with Charfuter, I really like to stay stationary to make sure that my shell connects. But for sure, you don't want to hit on the move. Um, the Batcha 25T AP, yeah, it's a time that you can compare this one. The Buraks, no way that you compare the Buraks to this one. The Kampfpanzer 07 Rage, no way you can compare this one to, and the UDES 14. Well, maybe you can compare to the UDES, but they are still not really particularly similar. For the Charfighter, because it's more special, it's well, it is not as sneaky as a Burask. The firepower is not as good as the Kampfpanzer 07, but it's another tank that it requires you some skill to master because you need 12 seconds to empty your clip for 400. That's 1570 damage. But the mobility is good. You have some turret armor in case you can go hull down, but the gun is okay. You have really good shell velocity, good hit pen, 330 I think. But you really need some time to deal damage. But I think it's a solid vehicle, but once again, it requires you some time to master. In terms of the price, 9 battle pass point, it's really good. If you don't have it, I recommend it. It's a good crew trainer, and obviously you have good APCR pen, good hit once again, and once you can make the tank work, then good on you. Next, we have a heavy brawler, the K91PT. Fixed cannon tank, destroyer with top frontal armor and good top speed. Well, the Jack Panzer is making it to good top speed. Well, the K91PT. Well, first of all, let's talk about it. I have it. I don't really play with it because I used to have the 268 2683 no 268 version 4 and the 263 of course. And I can say the upper plate is nowhere near as those, but the upper structure is, oh boy. Once you're cool down with this vehicle, you're gonna shred your enemies, just like that. Another thing I have to mention, good DPM. 390 alpha damage, not the highest, but you have good rate of fire, which I really love for tracking enemies. Um, Good APCR pen, I think you have. Well, pretty much can make it work. It's around 320 or 326 or something like that, but it's much better than the 300 that you have on the 263. In terms of mobility, it's really good. It's as fast as the 263. You cannot ram as the 263 or the 260 version 4. The Jack Tiger has much better gun. It's more accurate. This one is more Russian. It has slightly worse gun than the Jack Tiger, and the Jack Tiger has much better APCR pen. It's much slower, but in terms of the armor, it's pretty much the same. The Jack Tiger does have that flat upper structure, but it's still not gonna bounce as much as this one does. Next, a really big mention to this vehicle, it's your traverse speed is insane. I mean, not even light tanks can circle you to death. This tank turns really fast. Um, and it's a solid vehicle. I mean, it's pretty much like, of course, the 121 GFT in terms of the mobility. This thing once again turns like super fast, and the K91 PT, it feels really solid for me. Once again, 9 battle pass points. It's a really good price for this vehicle. And let's jump to another Russian heavy tank, because we didn't have those many in the game. It's time to have some more, and that is the 777 slot machine version 2. Personally, I do not have this vehicle, but it's I don't know what to say. It's turret armor, well, not turret armor, the side armor. It's trollish. And the gun, it's okay. You have that Russian 440, 340 hit. You have 440 alpha damage. Mobility, it's meh. I mean, you're a heavy, but you're not the fastest heavy. And in terms of the comparison, well, I guess Wargaming are pretty hitting the nail in the head with this kind of comparison. Maybe the 5A, maybe the 1.4, it's slightly better or out of this situation because the side armor is not as good. But yeah, 777. If you don't have a heavy tank, then you can get a 777. But keep in mind, it doesn't. It's not the most flexible as the K91 PT. You don't have the most gun depression, and maybe if you want to use something with better gun depression, you can take a look at the phase 1. This one, it's a much better M103. And once again, I'm not really knowing why Wargame didn't put the M103 on here, because they have the same gun, the same alpha damage, the same hit pen, the same AP, the same mobility, the same everything. You have, I forget to mention about all of these vehicles. You have the free repair kit, the premium repair kit, or bond repair kit, or whatever you're gonna call it. So that's a good for all of them to play in this kind of way. Conqueror, I guess the Conqueror can compare the Chieftain Proto, probably. The M3Y, I don't know, maybe. Man, the T34, but not really T34. The T34 has no DPM, this one has good DPM. M103 should have been here in this comparison, but once again, it's fair and square, this comparison. And for beginners, a phase 1 can be your best friend. It's also pretty cheap, so the rate is really good, and this tank can forgive for making mistake. In terms of mobility is good, armor is good, gun handling is good, and well, pretty much it's a solid vehicle. So it's much better than the Lorraine. Let's be honest. If you want to pick a good tank, a phase 1 is for you. Don't pick the Lorraine. And I believe this was everything about the tanks so far. In terms of the other things that you can get for, let's say you bought yourself a tank and you're left with, let's say, 6 battle pass tokens, and you cannot buy another tank for it, you can get yourself pieces of equipment. Well, the turbocharger, the bounty turbocharger, is really good for the most amount of vehicles, because I think only medium tanks can get the mobility slot for 10% on turbo. So therefore the mounted turbocharger can use it on every vehicle. The mounted rammer it's once again good, but for some vehicles that do not really require gun DPM, like Scouts on Prohorovka, Malinovka, then obviously it's good because you get yourself 11% better DPM. But once again, that really doesn't suit the most of the vehicles. Maybe 80%, but not all of them, like the turbo charger does. Next, the Bounty can lane drive, avoid that. Bounty ventilation with the update 1.20.1, this is gonna be a game changer. I recommend having those, more of those. The Bounty optics. Um, can be good for lower tiers, but once you get to the higher tiers, tier 8, tier 9, tier 10, where average view range is 390, 400 meters with good crew and everything, you, you want to invest into better equipment, but it can be occasional, it can be good. Bounty stabilizer, it's a good piece of equipment for pretty much most of the tanks, because who wants to have who doesn't want to have better gun handling, to hit more shots, to be more to have to aim faster and everything like that. This one is once again a good piece of equipment. Bounty protection technology, personally I do not use this kind of stuff because I'm not using food. Um, I use the what's called fire extinguishers. But if you're a guy who uses always food and everything, then probably you want to put this on tanks like the Object 430U that is catching fire every time it gets hit in the lower plate, and FE4, FE215B, and tanks like that. Next, bounty rotation mechanism. This is more hit and miss, because personally, what you would want to use this on its tank destroyers and not turreted tank destroyers, and it decreases dispersion values. But what it does, it makes your tank turn faster, which means your dispersion are gonna go higher. So it's pretty much you don't get any kind of dispersion buff, but once you get it, you turn you turn the tank faster, and you turn the turret also faster. No, not really the turret, because you have a fixed turret, but the gun, you turn it much faster. Next, the one and only, the bounty aiming. This, I think this is really good for the tanks with a really big dispersion factors, like when you have the accuracy of 0.4. This is a percentage base, so if you have 0.4 and this thing decreases 8 or 9%, then you're gonna get the dispersion down by 0.3 or 0.4, which is much better than if you have on a grill, which is 0.25, and you decrease that by 0.2, let's say like that. Next to that, you have the Bounty exhaust system, which I think it's once again a really good piece of equipment, especially for medium, for light tanks. I mean, you should have this on your light tanks, because being sneaky, it's a key. You can sneak behind the enemy, you can just perma spot them, and they will not know that they are spotted. And once again, this is a good piece of equipment. I recommend having some of those as well. And the one and only, the bounty hardening. This, once again, it's a really important piece of equipment, because 200 extra HP, 150, 160, it's the difference between you put 1, 2, 3 shells more in, or you in the garage. And next for that, bonds for three tokens. 100 bonds I don't think is the best exchange rate, so I don't really recommend buying bonds. Maybe, well, I don't really recommend buying bonds, because with 3 you can just buy another piece of equipment and be more competitive. Now with What Plus you can just switch them from one tank to another. So yeah. And next, personal reserve 1 hour of 50%. I don't think that is gonna be the best price. Maybe if you have 2 tokens and you just want to waste them, you just buy 2 hours of 50% gold reserves. But yeah. And on top of that, if you want to buy bonds at a better conversion rate, you go over here and you spend 3000 battle pass, you spend 1000 battle pass points on 100 bonds, and you are just much better out of it. Next, for the bond for the battle pass points, you get yourself commanders, which obviously they're the best. They are It's like, first of all, buy all commanders, then you buy the skins. The commanders are much better value than the skins. They offer you better, well, obviously they get you free brothers in arms or something like that, but they do have 2 or 3 skills. So yeah, I think that was everything that we reviewed pretty much out of this battle pass token spend or save. So hopefully it was informative, and hopefully it gave you an opinion of what you should spend or your things on. But this was only my I wanted to make a video on what, if you needed help, this was the video for you. But if you wanted a specific tank, go ahead and buy it. It is your account, it is your currency. Get whatever makes you happier. This is my overall opinion, and hopefully it was informative. And thank you very much for watching. I forget to say, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. Bye bye.